Greetings, travelers. Finally, I played a good game on stream. NEKOPARA Catboy Paradise. The April Fool's joke turned into a full-blown free-to-play adventure on Steam that you can download right now. I did play this game on stream for people to watch some unholy content, and after finishing the game in about 4 hours, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I was not the intended audience for this game. Now that's not exactly surprising, as it is an Otome game, and me, being a piece of furniture, also probably a heterosexual male, the concept of being a self-insert hot girl going around and flirting with cat men didn't strike me as something I would be super crazy about. But I know my loyal supporters always want to see me play some more NEKOPARA content, so I obliged. I'm not really sure why just having a pair of cat-like ears on top of a character's head instantly makes me like them, but at least I know what I'm into. Just some things to keep in mind, this game is produced by Sayori, the NEKOPARA mastermind, but the art was done by G. Yusuke, and I'm not sure if the story writer is the same. Their name is Yuki Yuno, for anyone who's curious, so you kind of get the idea. The art style is different, and I don't think the storytelling is remotely the same as the main series. That isn't inherently a bad thing, but it is a very noticeable difference. In other words, there are no jiggle physics when you shake the screen, and you can't just stop gameplay to pat some heads. So if you're already very familiar with NEKOPARA, set your expectations accordingly. Something else that sticks out in this game, you actually get to make a single choice in the entire experience, which is an undefined amount of times more choices than anything in Catgirl Land. Oh, and the main character that you play as is a silent self-insert protagonist who has all their dialogue relegated to the character saying, "What was that? You want me to repeat what you just said so the user knows what's happening? Okay." And once again, while I don't think this innately makes the game bad, I like the Persona franchise, which usually has a silent protagonist for most of the modern games, it does start to get on my nerves, as it feels like they wanted the main character to be more involved, and this method of storytelling doesn't really work for something like that. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm some kind of literary expert. I couldn't manage to get more than a D on any essay in my honors English courses in high school, which is why I switched to regular English, and apparently the difference between those two types of classes in my experience is having proper grammar is enough to get an A in a regular English class, and I have no fucking idea what they wanted from me in honors English. I remember being told that my writing sucks for much of my whole life, and well, look at me now, you stupid fucking bastards. Tangents aside, when it comes to visual novels, I think it goes like this. A protagonist with a personality can enhance the whole experience when done well, such as in Grisaya, or completely ruin it if done poorly, like in Hatsukoi 1/1. So in theory, a silent protagonist should be neutral, and I think it usually is. I just wasn't a huge fan this time around, especially when the only way for the protagonist to say no to anything is to shake the whole game left and right. Now, why would I complain about a game at all when it is free, and very clearly just kind of like a trial run to see if they could spin off NEKOPARA into an Otome franchise as well? It's because I'm a very negative person. So let's do a character rundown. You got Sage, the big man who calls you a good girl all the time, which hopefully didn't awaken anything in me. He even beat a creep to a pulp when he tried to hit on me and helped me feel safe. So I'm giving some solid points to Sage, but he could have been cooler if he was able to summon a Stan. You got Dill, who likes fashion and helps you improve your look, which is pretty nice. And people kept telling me that this character was obviously gay, but how can you possibly be gay if all this dude wants to do is get in your pants? And keep in mind, the character that you play as is in fact female. I do have mad respect for people who are comfortable with their hobbies without worrying of having people throwing their sexuality into question. So Dill is pretty cool. You got Laurier, who is a sociopath who shoves vinegar down your throat and then sleeps in your bed every night. He also reverts into a kitten whenever he eats sweet food, so that's just a 10 out of 10 character right there. And finally, you got Fennel, who asks you to make a sandwich and calls you a stupid fucking bitch because it wasn't perfect. Alright, fucko, I'm gonna send Sage to beat you into the ground on my behalf. So that's like 3 out of 4 characters being cool, which isn't too bad if you ask me. 3 out of 3 characters if you manage to kill Fennel off. The plot is super short and simple because it's not like there's time for anything more complicated than you have inherited a cafe and a fucking mansion that apparently only one other person can live in with you despite being a literal mansion, and you're gonna have to learn how to run a cafe. So it's fine for what it is, and the voice acting is also incredibly solid for such a small scale game. Not too surprising though when they have a pretty solid lineup on the voice acting team. Now, with all that being said, would I recommend the experience? I have no idea. It's free, so it's not like you have to spend any money on it, but you do have to spend some time. So, maybe. If you have a few hours to burn and you're looking for something different, maybe check it out. As for me, I'm going to go back to my NEKOPARA Dakimakura collection and remind myself that I'm a living legend. Now let's get out there and continue to appreciate some free stuff.